We're back. We're at the Sands Leisure Centre, Carlisle for BMX Beat. Stick around. Carlisle. We're back again. It's BMX Beat. It's slightly different this time because we're coming from the Tizer World Professional Freestyle Championship. It's going to be great to watch. Now, before we start, I'd like you to meet somebody. It's Ron Stebbene from the USA. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you. Hey, Andy, guess what? After an exciting series of events, we have finally come to the climax. We have, out of 150 riders, 40 of the best riders in the world here today. And they are going to put on one show that you won't forget. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Okay, let's get straight into the action. The 17 plus final. Okay, straight into the 17 plus. Ramp straight in with a 270. This is Ilja Probst. I think I pronounced that right, from Germany. This guy looks hot, Ron.
Yes, as we get into the older young men here, older riders, we're going to see probably some higher aerials as we go. I've seen this young man ride before, and he's a fine rider. His air right now, at this point, is about average. I don't know if he's resting there or he's planning on some kind of a platform trick. Platform trick coming up. That's good. Drop it on in. Attempted can, I believe. He decided not to go through with it totally.
Ron, how do the lip tricks on the top of the ramp compare with actual aerials? Are they just as difficult or easier? Or?
Well, again, not being a rider, you know, it would be, I think, a personal preference. One thing about a lip trick or a platform trick is that it does slow down the flow of your routine. So you've got to be careful. If you're going to be on top of that platform, you'd best have a hot trick. It just doesn't do it to just land on top.
Sure, because you're wasting time, and in that time you could be doing, you know, even more tricks.
Sure, and I think that right now we have that going on right here. He is interrupting the flow of his routine just to drop down on in. And I think really he'd be doing himself a favor if he keep the action flowing. He may be tired too. You know, these guys are under a lot of stress and they are fatigued.
Something that I know a lot of people would be interested to know is how do the attitudes of, say, the British freestylers compare with the US freestylers?
I have been asked that by just about every country represented here. And I think before I answer that question, we should take a peek at the backwards drop-in attempted. That's what happens if it doesn't work out.
Sure, but I mean, he must surely score some points for trying that one because it's very difficult.
That's a tough one. I think he cut his time a little bit short because of disappointment in himself, perhaps.
He's actually got 30 seconds to go and he's kicking back on the mattress.
Yeah, I think he decided that on his own.
Okay, right. Okay, slight change of plan here at the World Championships. Right, we now move on to Derek Oakes from England. I don't know what happened to Ilja there.
I think he got a little bit shaken by that backwards drop-in situation.
Seemed a bit tired there the way he was laying out on the couch.
He did. In answer to your question, by the way, about how riders compare with the States, I'd say that they are, to some degree, the flatland riding is a little bit across the board, just a little bit maybe beneath some of the riders in the States. Of course, you're going to be averaging out, you know, I'm talking about average here. When we get to the ramps, I'd say that any of the riders out here that I've seen, they hold their own to anybody in the States.
What about attitudes to like training and practicing and stuff like that? Would you say that the British riders are as dedicated as the Americans?
I'm not sure it's a matter of country. I think it's just a matter of age. I think as you look at the older riders, I think you'll see a little bit more dedication to training. I think as you get older, you get a little bit wiser, hopefully, and you find out that preparation, mental attitude, physical fitness, diet, sleep, and all those other things contribute to a good routine and an athlete. These guys are athletes. I have to repeat that. I think sometimes we view these guys as just kids riding bikes. That's not the case. These guys are athletes.
In fact, that brings us nicely, I'm glad you said that, because What is the attitude towards freestyle in the US, towards the general public? I mean, are they fully aware of BMX freestyle? I mean, in the UK, we have series like BMX Beat, which are shown all over Europe, and obviously BMX freestyle is seen quite a bit. Is that the case in the US?
I think that I guess the popularity of the sport is the same probably in both countries. They're both growing. I think we're still in our infancy stage. This rider, by the way, did a fine job.
Okay, that was Derek Oakes. That was unfortunate. Not sure what he was trying.
I think he was trying a 270 drop-in, which is referred to as a 360 drop-in many times. The attitude, I think we were talking about that just a moment. Do you want to continue with that, Tom?
Sure, yeah. I mean, this is Stephen Brandt from Germany again.
Okay, we'll get back to attitude in just a moment. This rider, if you take a good look at his helmet, has been wearing those little wings. I think that's very appropriate.
Do you think that helps his aerials at all?
I think it helps out. It helps him with a little lift. Now he's doing a platform trick here, balancing anyway. What is he going to do with this? I think he's going for, yes, a backwards drop-in.
I think if he was a bit more balanced over the front end,
yes,
he may well have pulled that off, because there's a bit of a sharp transition at the bottom.
Could very well be. I think the public generally, as we were talking about attitude, the public generally in the U.S. is that these riders are very much respected. I haven't been here long enough really to get a good feel for the attitude. I certainly hope that the public in all these countries in Europe and all over the world do respect these riders. They certainly deserve our respect. They are working very hard. They are dedicated athletes, and they're very skilled and talented young men. Dedication, there it is. He tried again and pulled it off.
Now that's something that we haven't actually seen. I mean, if a guy doesn't pull off a trick, he doesn't normally attempt it again, and he's did it, and he's pulled it off, so hopefully he'll score highly for that.
I think that that can be a dangerous situation if you try to pull a trick that you didn't pull off the first time. If you don't do it the second time, I'd say just forget about it and move on.
Sure. Wasting time again.
Yes, that, and I think it also doesn't do good for your feelings about your routine. I think it does disturb your flow of thought.
Now, I've just noticed here that he's attempting the same tricks. He's done the ramp.
He's doing a little
the
repeat.
Ramp fakie, sorry. He's done that a couple of times now.
He seems to be into lip tricks that require backwards drop-ins here.
Now that's very impressive.
When a rider repeats tricks, it may be that the numbers of
30 seconds.
We get 30 seconds left. The number of tricks that they know may be limited, and they may just be repeating for that purpose, or they may be just so excited and just not really in with the routine. They may have been forgetting because of their nerves.
Sure. Okay, this is Stephen Brandt from Germany. German riders making a lot of progress.
Yes, they are. They are. Nice group of kids.
Okay, here is Frank. Now I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly. Snoogen. Snoogen?
That was a good attempt.
Snoogen. Yeah, maybe you can do better. What do you reckon?
I'm not going to even attempt it. No.
Now this guy's from Germany again, one of the German riders. 270 dropping now. They've done really well to get through to the final.
They have. Now this is a stronger young man. Tire toucher going up there, yeah.
Now Germany is one of the newer countries in terms of freestyle development. Is that right?
I've been really surprised to find that some of these countries in this area have been doing freestyle for some years now. It's just that we haven't really heard of them. Many of them don't have their own magazines, so we're not able to get the word out. But there are riders all over the place. I received a letter recently from the Arabian Gulf, from Bahrain.
Really?
Yeah, a rider out there doing freestyle. Hopefully not alone. Yeah, that was nice. Nicely pulled off.
Again, that was down the ramp a bit. Hopefully we'll be seeing a few of these guys attempting some out of the top of the ramp.
Right. Well, give this guy time, and I'm sure he'll be getting out with that one.
Would you say the 540 is the most difficult trick, or at least one of the most difficult tricks?
I think it's probably one of the most respected tricks. I think if you pull that off, you're doing something. The crowd likes it, that's for sure. And I think among the riders, too, I think that a rider that pulls off a 540 is considered to be a fine ramp rider, one of the better ones. Of course, there's all other kinds of tricks, too, that can rank you in that status. He has a full face helmet, too, and it's good to see. I hope some of these young men take their talent to the road and do a little show here and there for people. We have a can-can going. I do understand that in different countries there are adults that get involved with the youth, sometimes their own sons and their sons' friends, and they go touring around the countryside. And some of them get paid for their shows, too. And that helps to pay for and defray the cost of the bicycles and uniforms.
30 seconds to go. Yes, that does happen a lot. With your involvement in the scout groups in the US, how are you involved with them? How does freestyle actually, go with the scouts?
Okay, I'm on a national board for the exploring program. No footer there. Oh, almost lost it there. The national board is a sports board. The exploring program is for older youth, 14 to 21, and they're specialists in different areas.
And is one of those areas freestyle?
You bet.
Okay, that was Frank Snugen from Germany. Let's hit the scores. Now let's get straight into the scores for the 17-plus ramps. Now we have Elijah Probst from Germany on 135 points. We have Derek Oakes on 142 points. We have Stefan Prantz on 152. This is giving me right hassle with these names. And, oh no, Frank Snugen from Germany on 157. That means the winner of the 17-plus ramps is Frank from Germany. The championship continues on BMX Beat. Let's start with the 15-plus flatland. Okay, it's Paul Guillotte from England. Another English guy, Ron?
Yes, coming out with a backwards frame stand and doing it nicely.
After that last round, I mean, that was so incredible. I just hope these guys can keep up the pace.
Yes, that's true. Well, ramp riding certainly has its qualities, but so does flatland. Flatland is intricate. It's sometimes delicate, sometimes it requires strength, as we talked about before. This rider here happens to be a very fluid, very smooth flatland rider.
Now, how fit do freestyle riders have to be? I mean, do they spend a lot of time actually training, like weights?
Good question. I was talking to a young man, one of the competitors here, as a matter of fact, you'll see him later, who looks like he does some weightlifting. And I asked him, and he said, no, not at all. All he does is freestyle. And obviously, it's worked for him. I guess I should try it.
Right. Yeah, me as well.
What do you mean?
Yeah. I was quite pleased to pull that one off.
Seems to be doing pretty well. I think he has to increase the pace just a bit to really satisfy the judges, to make him a top rider in this particular heat.
That was nice.
That was nice and smooth, right.
There's a lot of add-ons on freestyle bikes now. I mean, is it the same in the US as it is here? I mean,
It is. We have our fork pegs, we have our platforms, we have different kinds of appendages on the bicycle used for different purposes. He's using the back pegs right now to do that nice spin.
30 seconds to go.
Ankle buster. You can see why. If you look at his foot there, his foot was twisted right around. Hopefully we don't have any broken ankles here. There are new rulings, though, coming up, and I'll tell you about that later, perhaps, and that's regarding these different kinds of add-ons.
I suppose if it gets out of hand, then maybe they could become dangerous. Is that right, or not?
I'm not sure it's a matter of too many add-ons. It's the use in a ramp.
Okay, that was Paul Guillotte. Okay, it's David Castledine even, from England again.
Starting off with a Switzerland squeaker, one hand. Gliding on back. Did touch down at the beginning. I don't know if it rattled him or not. He seems to be under control. Swivel. Up and over. Nice. Doing very well. Get out of it nice. Some riders get into tricks very well, but have a difficulty getting out of them.
I suppose if the music's to their liking as well, that really gets them going.
Oh, the music is very important, that's for sure. There's no question. Some riders are really cued into the beat, pick up the tone. It excites them and gets them going.
Well, let's talk about judging for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
You're obviously involved with a lot of American associations, like I mentioned before, like the AFA, for instance.
AFA, and also Explorer Scouting, which is part of the Boy Scouts of America. And now the ABA, the American Bike Association, has gotten involved with freestyle, and we're really happy to see that.
Right. Well, how does the judging differ? I mean, do they judge on the same lines as like we are here at the World?
Similar. We have 5 areas, and that's level of difficulty, variety and flow, showmanship and appearance, execution and technique, and I'm not sure which ones I already named. But anyway, we have 5 areas.
It does get confusing.
It does.
30 seconds to go.
The judges look for overall, by the way, in the U.S. They throw out the high score and the low score, and this is supposed to take care of the situation of possible bias. If a judge happens to be biased for some particular reason, which hopefully they are not.
Right. Certainly wouldn't be here,
No, it can't be. Fine ride. Nice ride.
Okay, that was a good ride by David Castledine from England again.
Walk-up frame stand, looking good.
Okay, we move quickly on to... We have a lot of Scottish people here in the crowd, as you can obviously tell by the noise they're making when he comes on. Did really well in the BMX Beat competition, so let's really push him on well and hope he does well in the World Championships.
This young man is a crowd pleaser, which you could hear by the crowd. He did have a touchdown early on in his routine, but he's still, I think, probably the favorite. Touchdown on that. Infinity roll backwards, probably a bar spin coming in. Yes, there it is. Stopped it real nice. Held it. Great control. Watch his hand there, working the lever there on the brake.
Interestingly enough, we've had one rider in the competition who has actually done 3 runs in the preliminary competition. So he's actually done 3 runs without putting his foot down once.
That's correct. That's correct. And it's unusual to see that happen. Most riders do make mistakes.
Swung that together very well.
Looking good. Oh, look at this. Actually doing a few new tricks here, and this is good. We'd like to see some new things. We haven't seen that as yet.
I think that's what makes a competition like this interesting, is getting guys from all over the world and actually seeing the new stuff that they're doing. I mean, it's an ideal venue for it.
Oh, it is. As I said, the freestyle is a common language. We all know what a speaker is. Up and over.
30 seconds to go.
Decades are very popular with these riders, and that's when they go from one side of the bike over the top of the bike, or the front of the bike actually, over to the other side of the pedals. Oh, unfortunate
He was doing very well.
He is still doing fine. Be good to leave the judges with a good last impression.
Scott McDonald from Scotland. Okay, right, we're back with the scoreboard. First of all, we have Paul Gerlach on 137, David Castledine on 139, and Scott McDonald on 143. So, the World 15 Plus Flatland Champion is Scott McDonald. Okay, the championship continues. Join Ron and I for the Tizer World Freestyle Championships. Let's move on to the 16 Plus ramps. Okay, here we go, 16 plus ramps, the World Championships. Stéphane Caradot from France. He's the 1986 French champion. Now this is the ramp section of the competition. No flatland, getting major air on these ramps. We've had some excellent displays of aerial so far. Let's hope we can keep it up.
Okay, this rider started off with a frame stand drop-in, which is a neat trick to do. As I said before, the French seem to be stronger on flatland. Maybe in the heat of the competition, we'll see that they'll be doing some higher airs.
Well, I think there's definitely an improvement when we saw the French and the German riders, for that matter, in the international BMX Beat a short while ago.
Oh, definitely. Xing up there. You know what's really neat is that some of these riders don't speak very much English, and that seems to be the... Whoa, got a slide there. He's recovering fine. Oh, sure he did. Slid very well. he's going to continue on.
Now, that's an ideal demonstration of how important it is to have some safety gear on.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And you notice he does have the elbow pads. I would really prefer, personally, a full face helmet on the young man. I think that would be an added protection for him.
I noticed, though, that most of the riders do use open face. Is that because they can feel what they're doing more? They've got more air circulating, or what?
No, well, possibly, but 540 attempted there. No, the reason I would say is because the view, as you're looking down, it becomes difficult.
Okay, we now move on to Reynolds from England.
This young man is one of the riders that I'm sponsoring for this event. Two Hutch bicycles. Turn down, looking down. 1 foot on the top side with really nice extension.
Now, I think that most of the people who have watched BMX Beat before will probably have noticed by now that the main ramp on the left-hand side of the arena is twice as wide as it usually is. It's a lot wider. It's about 10 feet wide, or maybe 12 feet wide. Does that actually help the riders?
Well, I think it's a safer ramp. I think definitely the canyon does provide more risk to the rider. The narrower, of course, the landing field is a little bit smaller. The wider ramp does provide for a more tricks as well. Like the 540 could be done a lot easier, I would say, on a wider ramp.
Sure. Does it cut down the margin of error for the riders? I mean, if they're doing it on a narrow ramp, that's 30 seconds to go. If they're doing it on a narrow ramp, obviously there's a lot more chance of them missing the edge of the ramp.
There is. That's correct. We have a rider here that is, I think, a little shaken by that little knee plant that he did on top of the platform there. Let's see how it affects the remainder of his ride here. 540, sliding down, goes out of it without injury.
He's a little disappointed with himself there. In fact, he's very disappointed with himself.
Yes, he is. A lot of tension and a lot of pressure.
Well, this is the World Championship. This is the World Championship, 16 plus on the ramps. We have Jason Davis from England.
This rider is a Skyway rider. Starting off nice and smooth. Hoffa, Fakey, rolling back, touching down, unfortunately. Let's see what kind of air the young man gets. And also, remember, it's not just air, it's variations. Here's a full face helmet. The view obstruction is a main problem, as we were talking about before. Some of the riders get used to it, though, and they handle it very well. Air is fairly decent.
So if you as a judge looking at this routine right now, what would be the points that you'd be taking note of?
Well, it would depend on what area I was judging in. Right now, I see that the variations are not quite there. I think that I would be critical of that. As far as smoothness, I think he's fine in that situation. Style and presentation, well, he has the look of a pro. 1 foot on the low side. Extension, not too bad. Seems to have balance and control as well.
Would you actually mark him down? Because, again, they're not actually using the small ramps.
If it was stated in the ruling before that they had to use the ramps, I think I probably would be critical, but I don't think it says that they have to use them all.
Okay, that's Jason Davis from England. Okay, now we move on to a USA rider, Guillotte, doing, is actually a crowd favourite. He's been practicing here, and they actually loved it. Nice 540.
Yes, he just did a 540, a low aerial, but a really nice 540. A little shaky at the end, but he did a fine job. Up there, he's got good air. I see the riders extending themselves a little further than usual. As you can see with that no air.
No hair. Sorry, the pressure's getting to us. The pressure's getting to us.
Yeah, got my tourist list.
Oh, that's a shame. That's disappointing. He'll be very annoyed about that.
I'm sure that will shake the ball.
But he's straight back on the bike. That's a good point. I mean, I know from my experience, if you don't get straight back on the bike, then you're going to be shaken and it's going to put you out for the rest of the routine.
I believe you're right. By the looks of it, he hasn't let that bother him. As a matter of fact, he looks even more determined. I was a bit worried after that.
Now he seems to be getting himself back together while he's on top of the ramp. 30 seconds to go.
He is, and he seems to be enjoying himself too. Up and over.
Oh, nicely done.
I think he's made a real good comeback after that spill.
Okay, this is Greg Guillotte from the USA. And that's the end of his routine. Let's head for the score sheet. Okay, back to the nervous part of the competition. There's a lot of anxious faces sitting over there. So let's get straight into the scores. We have Stéphane Caradou from France, 138 points. We have Jason Davis from England, 146 points. Lee Reynolds from England, 149 points. And we have Greg Guillotte with 170 points. So the 16 plus ramps champion is Greg Guillotte from the USA! What a championship so far. This is the World Championships. Ron, you've been freaking out when we're doing the commentaries. I mean, you're obviously impressed.
I am. The riding is top-notch. I'll tell you, these guys are terrific. They are doing things that I didn't think they were capable of pulling off under this kind of stress. They're wonderful. They really are.
Well, we like it. We hope you like it. Join us again for the next program in BMX Beat. See you then.